Superman was created in 1938 and was given the ability to fly in the 1940s Fleischer cartoons. And since then, he has made many people believe a man can fly. And he's even made me believe that I can fly. So today, I test that theory.
Superman is one of my favorite superheroes of all time. I say one of because I'm one of those people who is incredibly indecisive. Like, Mario Galaxy was at my number 5 spot in terms of my favorite games just a couple of weeks ago, but now it's tied with Odyssey as my favorite game of all time. See, for me, Superman is tied as my favorite superhero with Batman, Spider-Man, and Invincible. Wow, one of these things is not like the other, in 2 ways! I will admit that there was a point in time where I thought that Superman was boring and I didn't like his trunks. I will never forgive me as an 11-year-old. I'd fight him if that was physically possible. But now I see that Superman is an incredibly interesting character. So, when DC announced that they were making a new Superman movie titled Superman Legacy, I didn't care. Yeah, the title Legacy just felt off to me. I don't know, it just sort of implied to me that the movie wouldn't really be about the character himself. But before I go on, you might be asking yourself,
what are you talking about?
I'm sure many people don't know the history leading up to this movie, and while I'm confident that anybody alive and breathing and with a pulse knows who Superman is, not everybody will know the history behind all of this. Superman was created in 1938 by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. In this period, he was just sort of a dude with super strength, super speed, and a high jump who beat up wife beaters and corrupt government officials, I don't know. During the Silver Age of comics, he got some more stuff that we know him for today. He joined the Justice League, built the Fortress of Solitude, all that stuff. He didn't get flight during this time, though. That was introduced during the Fleischer cartoon back in the 40s. That's pretty much the basics for the comic side of things, so what about the movies? Superman starred in his first theatrical film in 1951's Superman and the Mole Men. It was pretty much just a pilot for the Adventures of Superman TV series, though. What I and many others would consider his first true movie came out in 1978, Richard Donner's Superman the Movie. And it is one of the most definitive takes on the character, up there with the original comics and the animated series. Anyway, after the 1978 film, we got a bunch more movies that I'll sum up now. Good, bad, okay, but incredibly boring, fine, but I don't really like it.
I can see my gravestone from here.
Man of Steel is very controversial. It was a more realistic take on Superman, but many felt it turned him into a stoic god and that it misunderstood the character. I tend to agree with that, although the score by Hans Zimmer absolutely slaps. However, the universe that Man of Steel started, the DCEU, had a series of flops released, and so DC rebooted it. They hired James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy fame to spearhead the new DCU, with Superman Legacy, later retitled Superman, being the first film in the universe. This was controversial. I don't really want to talk about the stuff not directly involving Superman, so nothing about James Gunn or Zack Snyder personally, and I'm also not going to talk about the literal Nazis who think that the movie is Jewish propaganda, because they're stupid. People were finding things left and right to nitpick about this movie, ranging from stuff I understand to literally scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of hating. You'd think that some of these accounts were run by Lex Luthor himself. Most of this was on Twitter, and I definitely engaged with some of it. I was mostly replying because I was sick of seeing misinformation being thrown around about this movie. Like, apparently everybody hyping it up was a paid shill. Where's my check, James? But one of the bigger and quite possibly dumbest points of contention was the trunks and whether or not Superman should wear them. Yes, he should. Spare me your diaper man comments or whatever, but the trunks embody the character. Originally, they were there to look like circus strongmen that were popular at the time, but in more recent years, they've taken on a new meaning. They're there to make Superman look a bit sillier and not scare kids, being so powerful and all. It's like he's saying, I'm here to help, and at the end of the day, that is what Superman is all about, helping people. They also really break up the blue, like seriously, he looks naked without trunks. Then, of course, there were the people who didn't like Superman calling his robots Superman robots, which is what they're called in All-Star Superman, the comic that inspired this movie. There's way more stupid and dumb and idiotic controversy with this movie that I most certainly don't have time to get into. One thing I want to say, though, is that it's delusional to try to boycott this movie and get Snyder rehired. Yes, most people involved with that universe have said they'd be open to coming back to DC, but they've moved on. And while I don't personally like Snyder's films, it does suck that he never got to finish his story, but that shouldn't be a reason for someone else not getting to tell theirs. It'd be cool if Zack Snyder got to do some Elseworlds project or even got to make a comic, but don't harass people involved with this new universe. It's also dumb to believe that everybody leaving the movie a positive review is a paid shill, but everybody who left a negative review is telling the truth. Seriously.
But none of that matters now because Superman is out today. I'll get back to you when I actually see it.
Yeah, at the time of writing this, I have not yet seen the movie, so I'll get back to you with my thoughts on it when I have. Wow. This movie was truly super, man.
Say that again?
Seriously, this movie was great. Amazing even. Fantastic perchance. It really makes you want to merge without looking.
First, let's do a spoiler-free recap of the plot, then I'll go into spoilers as well as what I liked and disliked. The plot follows Superman.
Really?
Played by David Cornsweet, he's a good guy.
Bro, you are never gonna believe this.
He's from a planet called Krypton and has been a public superhero for 3 years. There's this bald dude named Jeff Bezos, played by Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult. He doesn't like Superman or any metahumans because he makes humanity look weak. He breaks into Superman's home in the Arctic, the Fortress of Solitude, and finds some things to incriminate Superman. So it's now up to Superman to find out what Lex is up to and stop him and maybe clear his name. Apparently there was a plot leak that I didn't read and people were saying that it was spot on, but people were saying that that plot was abysmal, but in my opinion it all made sense in the movie, although I think you can make any plot work with good writing and acting. Now it's time for... So all of the cast are amazing. A bunch of people were saying this, but it rings true, which is Mr. Terrific is a standout. He had a bigger role than I was expecting in the movie. Like, he was surprisingly important. Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl were amazing. Rachel Brosnahan embodied Lois Lane perfectly. Same with Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. But of course, there's David Cornsweet as Superman. And man, he is Superman. I'm sick of the Henry Cavill comparisons, but Cavill acted more like Superman when he wasn't playing the character. Cornsweet, on the other hand, is Superman in the movie, and it's perfect. Ultraman was revealed to be a clone of Superman, which, yeah, of course. Although I wonder if maybe he's Bizarro and they just didn't say it, because Ultraman in the comics is an alternate universe evil version of Superman, and Bizarro is the failed clone, but I digress. Also, Krypto was the best. There were a couple of cameos that I was not expecting, Peacemaker and a very drunk Supergirl. And yeah, it's obvious that the Supergirl thing is a setup for her own movie. I didn't mind it, and it definitely helps differentiate her from Superman, which is a big issue, weirdly. Now, there's something big I didn't like, and that was Jor-El. Yes, he told Kal-El to take over Earth and spread his seed. I honestly keep flip-flopping on how I feel about it, but I think it works in the context of the story and establishes Superman as more of a human than an alien, but it is a massive deviation. I feel like it's set up for a sequel though, because that plot thread didn't really feel completely resolved. Also, the harem thing was hilarious, genuinely. People are acting like it's being portrayed in a positive light, but like, no it wasn't. That's the point. It's what Lex uses to get people to turn against Superman. And when people say that the movie is very comic booky, I agree, but not in the way that most people are thinking. Its story isn't really from a specific comic, and there are some deviations, but the way it's presented feels like a comic book. And when I say comic, I mean Silver Age because it is very wacky. But it is also very heartfelt and sincere, and I did cry at some point. Which, I mean, it's a James Gunn movie, so of course it does that. Also, there's a scene where Lex shoots a guy, and it was very shocking. A shockingly divisive aspect of the film was Ma and Pa Kent. Some thought they felt like gag characters, but maybe this is because I'm from the Midwest, but they felt like people I knew. They talk and act like actual people, in my opinion. There are things I left out because this film has a lot going on in it, but I think I hit the general points. Wait, hang on. I saw people say that Superman tried to kill Ultraman and the Engineer and did kill Ultraman, but I don't know. In the attempted murder scene, he couldn't really see or do anything, so he just started free-falling, and I don't think that killing them was his intent. And the scene where he did kill Ultraman, he just kind of threw him into a black hole with the help of Krypto. But I don't think that was his intent, he just wanted to get him off of him. And Ultraman may have survived because he's stronger than Superman. I could be wrong though, that's just the gist I got and what I remember.
Get to the point!
Superman is one of the greatest comic book movies of the decade, and dare I say, of all time. David Cornsweet is charming and likable enough as Superman to stand with Christopher Reeve as a definitive take on the character. So overall, I give Superman an 8.529 out of 10.
What?
Yeah, the Jor-El thing makes it kind of hard to rate this movie considering how indecisive I am on how I feel about it. There's also just some stuff that I didn't talk about. I'll have to wait to watch it again to fully figure everything out. And when I do, who knows? Maybe I'll re-review it. Then after that, I can re-review it again and keep milking Superman content for the foreseeable future.
And done. I think it's time to post the review. Hopefully it's not as divisive as other people's Superman reviews. It'd be a shame if people reacted really badly to it.